Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Earthlings. Hope you've all got your tea ready. I have. This video is going to be a little bit of this and a little bit of that, talking about Harry, the Lilibet Gate scandal, the book that's coming out. I haven't watched Piers Morgan yet, but I understand that he has had a word or two to say about it. But it's also going to be about Sandra Rivet as well, and Lord and Lady Lucan, the current Lord and Lady Lucan. And I haven't really made any notes, a couple of things just to make sure I get her name right. The Countess of Lucan, Anne Sophie. She has a fashion line, and I just love this girl. I love her, and I love the fact that George, her husband, the current Lord Lucan, after all the darkness and whatever the hell happened in that house that night, which must have destroyed the childhood of him and his two sisters, that he has someone in his life who is so clearly beautiful on the outside and the inside. She looks like she is so much fun. Very, very fun lady. I love the photograph of her with the cigar. And she, apparently, her father was really into shooting. You know, they go to a country estate, don't they? And they have a shooting event. And she said she was never really into it. And then as soon as she picked up the gun and had a go at it, she loved it. And then she found that there weren't so many clothing lines for the ladies that want to get in on the action and the shooting, and she's really rather good at it. And so she set up a fashion line, and I've got this website of hers now where you can sort of see they're tailored, slightly eccentric, brightly coloured. I love it. I love her. I love her. I love her. I cannot tell you how happy I am that George has a soulmate, and what can go wrong with a partner like her in your life? She's just fantastic. I've got this fly here that just will not die. I've got this environmentally friendly fly spray that doesn't kill them. They seem to thrive on it, actually. Oh, there you are, you little monkey. Anyway, so yes, I have this morning received an email reply from West London Coroner's Office. Now, I'm not certain if it will be that Coroner's Office that will have the death certificate, or the inquest, because districts may have moved or changed since 1974-75. But they've replied to me and said yes, they will seek out the inquest for Sandra Rivet's death and the circumstances and events, but first they need the death certificate. So I have applied to the government for a copy of the death certificate of Sandra Rivet, so that then I can go back to the coroners and get a copy of the inquest, and then I can piece it together from there with the help of you guys and see what we can put together. You never know. We may not come up with anything, or we may come up with something. I just feel that the story it's always been sensationalised, which is kind of sick, actually. This is a human life that was taken, and I believe Lord Lucan lost his life that night as well, and that is a tragedy. And I think the media sensationalising it and all these programmes and stuff, it must be horribly frustrating for family members. Sandra's son, and John and Veronica's children, and all the people that were involved in the circumstances. It must be very frustrating for them to sort of hear whispers this and people get things wrong. And so I'd like to do some justice to the story, and you never know what might come to light. Right, now, God knows what evil entered that house that night, and it was an evil thing, whatever happened. And sometimes people go down a path in life where it's never going to end well. And Harry, I see, has been papped by Backgrid. Saw the pictures in the Daily Mail. It's like dial-a-pap. And I don't know what message he's trying to send out. He looks very tense. He has a very telling face. They both do. Meghan also, with her rictus grin. The more she rictuses, the worse we know it is. With Harry, he has sort of this very heart on his sleeve type face, very expressive face. I don't know that he's capable of hiding or faking emotions on his facial muscles. But I mean, he looks utterly miserable in these photographs. And I have been seeing that there's a lot of criticism about this book that's come out, where there are quotes as palace staff saying that they had never seen the Queen so angry, and that she had said apparently, "I don't own the castles and palaces, the only thing I have is my name, and they've taken that." Now, nobody really knows what conversations go on, and I'm sure there's an awful lot more to it. And I'm sure if, for example, the staff that were present at the time and they were sort of interviewed on TV, a lot more detail would come out. That's a very sort of short little quote. But what I'm thinking is, I suspect what would have made the Queen very, very angry, and it would me as well, is not so much them using the nickname, the pet name Lilibet. It's more the fact that Harry threatened to sue the BBC and then expected his grandmother to become embroiled in an unnecessary lawsuit while she's got cancer. 96, wasn't she? I can imagine her being fed up to the back teeth. "No, Harry, no, I will not back you up." And that lawsuit just sort of never came to pass, just faded away. And what I see in Harry is somebody who has been warned repeatedly by many people in the media, and I have no doubt people in his private life, saying, "Don't do this, don't go down this road." And I've had friends in the past, many people I've known, where I've said to them privately, "I wouldn't do this if I were you. I just wouldn't do it, because it's not going to end well for you." And they've said, "Oh, I don't want to hear a word of it. I'm going to do this. I'm in the right, blah, blah, blah." And it has turned into disaster and an act of self-destruction. And it always ends the same way. And I suspect a lot of you guys have had friends and family members where you've said, "Look, this perceived slight, or is this really such a big deal that you need to make a big hoo-ha about it?" And they've said to you, "I'm going to do it because I've got right on my side," and they're so arrogant, and they go ahead and they commit these acts of self-harm and self-destruction. And then when it all goes tits up, invariably I've had friends come back at me going, "This is all your fault." And I think, whoa, I told you behind the scenes I wouldn't do this if I were you. I mean, I've had this a lot. I had a school friend, oh God, I mean, I did a video about her last year. I knew her from when I was 5 years old, when I first started school. And she was very like this, she was very unpopular. And I felt sorry for her, and I kept saying, trying to get the other children to accept her and invite her in. And then she would have a perceived slight and, "Oh, I don't like them," and la la la. And I'd say, please don't make a fuss. Don't do this. Not again. How many times can I help you with the other children? You keep doing this. And I've had people, work colleagues, in fact. And oh God, it's a measure of a person's character, really. There were a couple of people who were absolutely bloody awful. I mean, me and my family tried to help them. We helped them get jobs. When the people who gave them the jobs went, "We really don't want them back. We don't want them back." And it was thanks to me and Graham saying, please, can they have their job back this year? And the bosses saying, "On your head be it. We think this is a bad idea." And sure enough, it turned out to be a terrible idea. Because they just did nothing but attack us. We'd lent them money, given them lifts, helped them out. We thought they were friends. And they did terrible things, absolutely awful things. Anyway, we finally got them out of our lives. They left. Several lawyers' letters later, my boss had to pay for, God bless him. And about 2 years after we'd gotten rid of them, and they were very much these sorts of people where I'd say, "I wouldn't do that if I were you. I know my rights. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that," and it all ended badly. They were in this area, basically nobody liked them, nobody wanted to help them. And then my phone lit up one day during the lockdown with a load of WhatsApps from people saying, oh my God, have you seen what's happened to these two people? And they sent me links to a crowdfunding page. And apparently what had happened is that this couple had had a baby, hadn't registered a birth certificate, didn't have a passport, the wrong side of the border, so they couldn't take the baby into Gib. And one of them had been arrested and banged up in jail for cocaine, God knows. She put her name on a lease or something, and the person who lived in the house. Anyway, I mean, they were up shit creek without a paddle. And loads of my friends said, why don't you stick the knife in? This is your chance. And I said, no. Firstly, they've got enough on their plate. Secondly, I don't care. They're nowhere near me anymore. I do feel sorry for them. I don't want anything to do with them. The expression is kicking someone when they're down. And I just can't kick someone when they're down. Especially not stuck in a foreign country with a baby, with all those sorts of problems. You know, Graham and I have been there before ourselves. There was no way that I was going to stick the knife in, and God knows what became of them in the end. I never heard any more. I mean, here in Spain, somebody is sent down for cocaine. It's standard 12 years. That's that. You know, you've got a baby, you get 12 years in prison. Whoa, that's your life ruined. And nobody around this area was up for helping them because they had caused so much trouble because of perceived slights and I know my rights. And this is where Harry is. You know, he has isolated and alienated so many people. And I'm sure that a lot of the people that said to him, Harry, don't do this, Harry, don't do that, Harry, don't do the other, don't please, I beg of you. I know what I'm doing. I'm a prince of the realm. I'm Duke of Sussex. I can do what I like. And now he's in a pickle, isn't he? And I dare say he blames everybody else except himself. I'm certain Meghan will. It will all be somebody else's fault. They had ample opportunity to go and visit the late Queen. Now, at the time, we didn't know that Graham had cancer. But now, having gone through that journey last year, both of our children and their partners were fully supportive. They were going out of their way not to create nuisance, problems, far from it. They were going out of their way to help us, be supportive. Faith came to visit at the hospital many times, and Ben was arranging and helping sort out the house and the boat. I mean, I just can't imagine if either of them or their partners had started saying shit about me and Graham on the internet on top of having cancer. I mean, it's inconceivable. And I would have been heartbroken. I would have been in floods of tears if my own children had done that, but they didn't. So now I'm thinking, how must Her late Majesty have felt, especially as she was so fond of Harry? She must have thought to herself, how can he do this? How can he do this? Now, I'm not perfect and I'm not judgmental, so I'm certainly not going to kick the dude while he's down. And he is down, my friends. He is down. He is down about as low. Well, I think they're going to go lower. But they chose to do Oprah when Philip was dying. They said, their people said, oh, they're just making that shit up, stop us doing Oprah. We're going to go ahead and do it. That's what their little fan base said. Whoops, Philip died. Now they look bad. They look very, very bad, don't they? Her late Majesty invited them for summer. No, too busy, can't fly, baby's too small, need to go to Elton John for the summer. All this crap. Now they look bad. And now, oh, it's the evil British press. I see Omid Scobie. Oh, look, it's the evil British press. No, Omid, no. And you played your part in this. No. And I am certain that apart from a lot of us YouTubers and the press, there will have been people in private saying, Harry, don't do this. Harry, go and visit. This may be your last chance. In fact, I distinctly recall that. But now, oh, now it's the evil British press. Oh, my God. And it's going to be his legacy, isn't it? For the rest of his life and beyond. This will be his legacy. This is what will go down in the history books. The timeline, the order of events, the order of decisions, The refusal to go and visit, and then at the last second realising, the dawning realisation, oh my God, she's going to die any minute. He actually missed his moment. He could have gone and visited before. He had every opportunity. He could have said, no, we're not going to go on global TV and trash the family. No, I'm not going to do all of these things that they have done. They decided to do. I do thank God she didn't read his book. It must have been very, very upsetting. I mean, I've tried to put myself in her shoes and just imagine if either of my children did that to me or Graham. We would be so upset. I mean, floods of tears territory upset. Because when someone says shitty things about you and you really don't care and you have no respect for that person, for example, the Sugars, I have zero respect for Sugars. So they can say what they like, I don't care. But if people that I love, you know, that are close to me, if they were to say or act in such a way, or dagger to the heart. And unfortunately for Harry, he's world famous and the world has been watching and analysing. And off he goes to his little, what is it, he's a legend, a sky god or something, award. They were snubbed at the Emmys. I'll put a link to a Daily Mail article now. This is not my bag, guys, okay? I don't talk about pregnancy, children, nothing, but just go have a look at the lady that's pregnant at the Emmys. And how many times the Daily Mail reference how lovely and beautiful and natural she looks. I mean, personally, when I was pregnant, that's the last kind of dress I'd wear, you know, showing the actual bump off, that there's no straps and stuff. I just wouldn't do it. But now I'm seeing more and more celebrities doing that. And it's almost as if they're saying, look, I really am pregnant. I'm half naked here in front of the cameras. You can see, it's not stuck on. So just to give you a bit of a giggle for that, because it's all a bit dark, isn't it? Poor Sandra Rivet, the tragedy, the Lucan children, that's all quite dark, so I thought you might like a little giggle at the end of the video. Yeah, go and have a look at that one. What do you think of the new Lady Lucan? Well, she's been Lady Lucan for a while now. I think she's been Lady Lucan since 2016, something like that. So we will follow the paper trail there. In the meantime, I look forward to hearing your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Lots to think about and talk about today. Thank you very much for listening.